Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Mayuki. Today I'm gonna start a whole new series, the mobile game Second Galaxy tutorial series, to help new players quickly master the game. This series is gonna be divided into several parts to covering different parts of the game. So this is the first one. We're gonna learn the basic game elements, the UI, and some essential gameplay tips. Well, then here we go. Now we're in the character selecting menu. This red box shows the 5 factions in the game. The last one is locked though. The difference between them is your commander's appearance, original ship, and the galaxy you're born. The later two could be changed in the game. Top right there is the 4 classes you can choose, which decide original attributes. You can develop your commander when you upgrade, or you can just reset him. And I highly recommend Soldier because his skills are more comprehensive. That allow you to clear the mission much easier at starting stage. And the right side is the appearance of your commander. What they look like mostly depend on the faction. It is important to mention that it cannot be changed once the game started in the current version. And this is a random button. You can get a random nickname that match characteristics of the faction, or hit this box to input your favorite nickname. Then you are finishing your character creating. Next, we will go through a deep explanation of in-game UI and basic combat skills. Now it shows a screenshot of the game. We're gonna cut it into few parts and explain all parts in detail. First of all, we need to learn what all of these buttons mean and what they can do in the game. There are lots of buttons in the screen, so I put them in a picture and explain all of them one by one. There's 15 seconds in each picture. You can pause the video to take a good look at them. Considering it's very hard to memorize all of them quickly, I suggest you can watch the video and then play the game for a while and come back to watch this video over again, because it'll be much easier to understand combined with your own game experience. Now we're getting the game, I'm going to talk about 2 tips of the basic skills that are really helpful. The first one is about manual driving. Double tap wherever in the space, the ship's going to drive to that point directly. And in the process, you can also activate the thruster to accelerate, and the ship's going to go much faster. You can tap the pause button to stop the ship, but if you're in the auto combat mode, click the pause button but also turn the auto combat mode off. Your weapon is going to stop fire. Please don't forget that. And the second one is the utilize of strategic view. It could be very useful in some quests. The numbers in the screen, the unit is kilometer, so you can use this to observe the environment around you. Tap it twice, it'll zoom to 100 kilometers. And you can know about what kinds of guys in this area, how far are they from you, what's direction to you, etc. All of this will be visualized clearly. Tap it 3 times, it'll go back to normal size. So, strategic view is very useful for you to understand the battlefield generally. Keep you from being attacked by multi-NPC in multi-directions. You can also zoom the screen manually, but it's not as useful as strategic view, I think. Okay, these 2 tips are very basic things of the Second Galaxy. And now I want you to concentrate because I'll explain the most important part of the game, which is the action menu on the left side. This menu determines who you can attack, what you can interact with, where you can warp. Each of them is important. If you're not familiar with operating the menu, you're gonna miss the first round to fire, you're gonna lose the loot because the other players get ahead of you. I believe you don't want it to happen. There are 3 types in the menu. The first is hostile or neutral targets. It shows the targets you can attack. The second one is friendly targets, which shows the friendly facility, friendly NPC, wingman, teammates, etc. The third is slash objects and facilities, including the space stations and stargates. This button is a menu setting. Notice it has 2 sections, and I highly recommend you guys change the sort by range to by name, because when you're in PvE, normally you need to destroy multi-enemy ships, and if it's sorted by range, the ranges between you and all the other ships keep changing. As a result, their order in the menu will also keep changing. It makes you can't lock the target you want, which is very annoying. But if it's sorted by name, problem solved. And the section 2 is sifting, where I don't make any change. Next, we'll explain the advanced operation. The first is the camera. Slide the screen like this can control the camera manually, but when you click any target in the menu, the system will automatically put the camera to it. As long as you don't move the camera, it'll track on the target just selected. As you can see, no matter how I move, the camera is always toward to the target. This will give you a good view of enemy position during the high-speed battle. Simplified operation. The menu is connected with the Interact panel on the right. Click the target in the menu and Interact panel appears. You can do a lot of things with this panel. Observing your target, approaching
target,
leaving,
departing from target,
and operating it.
orbiting target.
When you operate around the target, the current distance from it will be the radius of the operating circle, which means this is one of the few operations that you can manually control the distance from the target. So it is very useful to poke enemy to make damage from a long distance. And the leaving button is also important, especially when you poke enemy from the long distance. System will always choose the best way to leave the enemy. It's efficient compared to your manual operation. And in the game you'll see this button. This is the interactive button, normally for the facility or the mission targets. Additionally, the menu will switch automatically when you just finish one quest. It'll switch to the next target, very convenient. Next, we'll learn the basic combat knowledge. First up, the 4 bars. From left to right is ship's shield, armor, energy, and velocity. Click any bar to open the ship attributes panel. You better know the shield resistance. There are 3 types of attack damage and same as the resistance. They are electromagnetic, for short EM, kinetic, and thermal. Different faction, the resistance will vary. And its left side is your buff and debuff, and tactical component effect. Left side is your buff or debuff you have now. Now I activate any device and you can see the buff will show in here. All of the effects will be displayed. The hexagon on the right is your tactical component effect. It's only decided by the ship class. On the right side is your fire buttons, including auto combat mode, 3 weapons, super device, and lock-on button. Lock-on button is literally useless, I'll explain it later. Hold any button, you will see its effect. Better memorize the weapon distance and damage type. Both of them are important. Next is super device. It also depends on the ship class like the tactical component. They are unchangeable and different super devices have different effect. Some is to make damage, some is to reduce weapon CD, some is to make an extra shield. And this section is your device. These 2 are default device. There'll always be a repairer and thruster. They can recover your shield and speed up your ship respectively, unchangeable. These 3 are optional device. The 3rd position needs to be unlocked by passing the level 3 license corresponding to your faction and ship type. All of these buttons you can consider as QWER skills in mobile game. And the tactical component is a passive effect. The device is the equipment you can use in combat. How to match the tactical components, your weapons, super device, and even the order of weapon you use to maximize your firepower is that players need to explore by themselves. It's a big fun of the game. Okay, this is a basic operation of these panels and buttons. Next, I will use some in-game mission video to further explain the basic and advanced knowledge of auto combat and fire control. Moving on to a combat mission, I'll show you how to do a battle correctly. The first is leaving. Click the menu, click the leaving button. It's easy.
Departing from target.
Also, you can use orbit. Orbit is the only way you can decide the distance you want to keep away from the enemy. And then is the lock-on button. It has 3 effects. First, set the orbiting radius very close to the enemy. The distance will be always the maximum range of your artillery. Second, start orbiting. Third, set your artillery as auto fire. Nothing else, so which means it's not the premise of your equipped weapon attack, which means if the enemy is in the range of your weapon, just click the target in the menu and then click the weapon you want to use. You can launch an attack There's no need to use lock on button at all. Now let's get close to the target and hit lock button. You'll notice that it set the orbit radius in 8 km. It's usually not the distance we want to keep with the enemy, especially when we want to poke enemy from long distance. So I've been emphasizing the importance of leaving and orbiting. And if we're close to the enemy, you can see they're attacking me, my shield is reducing, so here is a situation we want to avoid. If your auto combat mode is on, and your shield is lower than 50%, system will use your shield recharger automatically, and this will consume your energy. And in extreme case, your shield is low, your energy is low, and you're in auto combat mode, and they activate your shield recharger, and you run out of your energy. You can't even use your weapon to attack back because weapons need to use energy. This is the circumstance we need to avoid, especially when we were in wormhole. Wormhole will reduce ship's energy recovery. Must pay attention to this. And you can see its shield is reducing, but I didn't use any weapon. That's what artillery do. It can attack enemy automatically, although its DPS is low and the range is short. And when the shield is run out, the screen will shake like this to remind you your shield is out, your armor is taking damage. If armor is used up too, your ship is gonna blow up. And the CD of weapon is different according to type and your faction. Some weapon has a shorter CD, when it's hard to activate all of these devices and weapons in time. You can choose to turn auto combat mode on.
Auto combat activated.
And auto mode is what I recommend you guys to use in main plot, where you can't rely too much on it, for reason we've talked about before. The auto mode will use 3 weapons to attack the closest enemy, and then move to the next one after killing it, but use 3 weapons to 1 enemy will cause the waste of power, because all the damage of 3 weapons is more than remaining armor of 1 enemy. It'll make all your 3 weapons in CD, and the new enemy shows up and you can attack the next strong enemy immediately. As a result, you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies, attacked by them for a few seconds without fighting back. This is a dangerous situation. The next I'll show you is how to 1vn fire control. Both of them are close to me. And now I tap this one to use my weapon 1, and tap another one to use my weapon 2. You can see both of their shield is reducing. This is what I'm talking about, simultaneous fire, which is very practical, especially when you're in wormhole or your weapon CD is very long. Taking advantage of this, you'll be able to attack 3 targets at the same time, clear the enemy quickly, and avoid wasting your power. And if your ship is in bad condition, no armor, no shield, you want to leave the battle, you can choose the facility in the menu to warp, and the quest will be reset. You won't get reward, but at least you're alive. At last, let's keep eyes on the menu. Notice their distance from me. Let's say we'll set the menu sorted by range. In a battle with several enemies, everyone's moving, distance keep changing, and the order in the menu keep changing. It's difficult for you to choose the target you want. This is the reason I recommend you to set it sorted by name. And sometimes you need to fight a boss. A lot of his men around you. If you want to hit boss firstly, it'll be comfortable for you to lock on him in this way. Okay, so these are very basic but very practical tips in the game. You can review them properly and practice in your game. This is today's video. Thanks for watching. I'm Mayuki and I'll see you next time.